Welcome back to my channel. In part 1, we uncovered some shocking urban legends that turned out to be true. But we're not done yet. Today, we're jumping into part 2 of our countdown for the top 20 urban legends that turned out to be true. Let's continue where we left off. Number 10. Killer elevators. It sounds familiar, we're sure. When someone enters an elevator, it abruptly loses control and murders them. These kinds of events are uncommon, but they have occurred. A 35-year-old surgical resident from Texas was following a colleague into a hospital elevator in 2003 when the doors started to close, and continued without stopping. Between them was the doctor. It was too late. Even though his colleague hastily hit the emergency stop button, the lift started to ascend. The doctor had little chance, with his lower body outside and his upper body inside the car. This kind of occurrence is obviously generally prevented by several safety precautions. Faulty wiring was the cause of the disaster. Number 9. The Toxic Lady. Gloria Ramirez was her true name. When she arrived at the emergency room, her condition was rapidly worsening due to late-stage cervical cancer. Less than an hour later, she passed away. However, Ramirez had an odd impact on the medical professionals. Several of the people who treated her experienced strange symptoms, breathing difficulties, fainting, or even momentary paralysis. 6 days later, the coroner's office constructed a specially sealed room for the autopsy, and the staff members were outfitted in protective duty suits. Everyone was then soaked with decontaminants. She was autopsied by a crew in hazmat gear, but they were unable to determine why those in her immediate vicinity had been unwell. Before the coroner's office discovered that Ramirez had been attempting to treat herself with dimethyl sulfone cream, the majority of specialists wrote it off as mass hysteria. This produces a vapor that reacts with individuals, much like poison gas when exposed to oxygen. Number 8. A secret murder. Even though Betsy Aardsma passed away in 1969, Penn State University is still troubled by the peculiar circumstances surrounding her death. The graduate student Aardsma was perusing through a library aisle when she heard books dropping. After finding her unconscious on the floor, they took her to the campus hospital, where a doctor was startled to learn something that none of the other patients had guessed. It was Aardsma's murder. She had only been stabbed once, and the wound was so little that she had barely any bleeding. The majority of the evidence at the site was destroyed since it took so long to determine that a crime had been committed. The phantom murderer remained undiscovered. Number 7. Dead people mistaken for Halloween decorations. That was said by a man in Tennessee who was on his way to work when he called 911. He noticed what looked to be a dead person laying in his neighbor's driveway and decided to call. It's likely that you've observed an increasing trend in realistic and gory Halloween decor. People confusing actual dead bodies for phony ones is a peculiar issue that has resulted from this. This occurred in 2009 in Marina del Rey, California, and in Frederica, Delaware in 2005 after the bodies of suicide victims were misidentified as Halloween practical jokes. In 2014, a guy hanged himself in his garage in Spring Hills, Florida, in a different case. When 2 handymen discovered the body, they thought it was a mannequin and took it to the dump, where the workers realized it was a corpse. Perhaps we ought to slightly lessen the decorations. Number 6. Buried alive. Many people's worst dread is to be buried alive, and it has happened previously when people have been wrongfully proclaimed dead. Sadly, it has also been intentional. A businessman from Illinois was abducted in 1987 and kept hostage for ransom. The kidnappers buried him in a box filled with water and a breathing tube for an odd purpose. Sadly, the tube burst, and he was already dead when the cops got there. Another incident occurred in 2020 when a man in China's Shanxi province's Jingbian County is accused of burying his mother, who was 79 years old, in a shallow grave. She was apparently miraculously saved by cops, who dug her out. Number 5. Bodies in rugs. This has probably been in movies before. The killer wraps their victim in a rug and leaves without raising any red flags. There are enough real-life examples to leave you wondering if reality was influenced by fiction or the other way around. A neglected carpet, for one reason, hardly draws much notice. It took months in 2022 for the body of a woman found curled up in a carpet inside an abandoned house in Douglasville, Georgia, to be found. It's obviously a little more noticeable if someone's feet happen to be poking out of the rug. In 2019, a passerby in Manhattan noticed one similar to that. police were unable to ascertain what had occurred in both situations. Thus, exercise caution. A rug could be trickier than it looks. Number 4. Secret sharers. Have you ever lost something at home? It's in another room, even though you were positive it was there. Most likely, though, you're just forgetting. If not, it's a ghost. Or even worse, a housemate who lives in secret as a sharer. Although it may seem unfeasible, people have succeeded in doing it. After moving into a new apartment in Arlington, Virginia, in 2017, a woman believed she heard footsteps overhead. She discovered someone had been residing in the attic when she discovered the door was open 6 months later. She was never aware of who it was. A Japanese guy placed security cameras in his home after noticing food and other stuff disappearing in 2008. It transpired that a woman had been residing above his closet without anyone knowing for a full year. Number 3. Dead people in drinking. They could see Elisa Lam floating face up as they looked in. She had fallen into a significant condition of decay. We apologize. We realize this is offensive, but it does happen sometimes. In 2013, there was a well-known case at the Cecil Hotel in California. Visitors reported that their taps were smelling and coloring strangely. The body of a young woman was discovered to be in the hotel's water tank. It had been a couple weeks since she vanished. A number of dead bodies have been discovered in Lake Mead, one of the nation's major drinking water reservoirs, and they are now becoming visible as the water recedes. This discovery has alarmed residents in the western U.S., which is currently experiencing a catastrophic drought. Drinking water that has been near a corpse isn't normally dangerous, it's simply incredibly unsettling, if that makes any sense. Number 2. Bugs living in people. It's bad for everyone when an insect flies into your eye or anywhere on your face, including the insect itself, which will probably get whacked. The truly terrifying things are the insects that thrive on living inside of humans. Consider mites that scratch. Adult mites are always looking for new hosts. They accomplish this by making skin-to-skin contact or by stowing away on linens or sheets. Because they are so small, you won't even notice they've gotten into your skin until you start to get an itching rash. It might also be of interest to you to know that certain flies bite and transmit parasitic Loa Loa worms. Sometimes you can see these worms swimming beneath your skin and eyes. They have the ability to kill you and enlarge your brain, but regrettably, it's quite hard to get rid of them. Trust us, you're not alone if it makes you uncomfortable. The girl is ready for an operation thanks to the specialists. Before we go any further, don't forget to hit the bell to receive updates on our most recent videos and to subscribe to our channel. You can choose to receive notifications for every video or only the infrequent ones. Make sure you turn on your notifications by going into settings while using your phone. And that concludes our list of the top 20 urban legends that turned out to be true. Thanks for joining me for both parts. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories.